My position on monogamy is it's hard and it should be. I do not think that because you cannot control your own lust, you cannot practice restraint around temptations, you cannot commit to your vows, your integrity, your honoring your word. If you cannot do that as a person, you do not need to create a scapegoat for that. Okay. Monogamy may not be for everybody, but I do not think that expanding on a definition of monogamy because you cannot hit that check mark. It's like every kid gets a trophy because they just tried. That doesn't make people better. But there are certain things that you will rise to the standards of, or you will accept that maybe that pattern, that path in life is not for you. Okay. I'm not here to say that one is right or wrong. I know what is right and wrong for me. I do not believe that expanding on the definition is appropriate. I think that that is wrong in many, many, many ways. We've tried to go down this path of changing words and changing the definitions of words. I don't think that's appropriate in any category of life, let alone commitments and or marriage. So that was my first issue. I do believe that marriage is hard in good ways. I don't think hard means like it sucks. I think it's hard because it forces your growth edge and you're either going to rise to that standard of what is asked of you, what opportunity you have in front of you, and you will rise to that occasion, or you will fall to your own self-justifications and belief systems and coping mechanisms. And that is for each individual to choose. But starting it that way really, I just thought was really manipulative because there are plenty of people, they're probably not loud, they're not super public facing, that do believe in monogamy, that do believe in committing to one person, that do believe in honoring that partnership. And I don't think that moving the goalpost because there are certain people who can't, that have large platforms and a lot of resources to kind of impose that narrative into people that are susceptible to kind of listening and honing in on that into their psyche is appropriate or responsible.
What it reminds me of as you're talking through that is when I was in Ranger Battalion. And so initially to get into Ranger Battalion in the Army, it was called Ranger Indoctrination Program, RIP. It was 3 weeks of absolute hell and it had a very high attrition rate, but it resulted in a very, very proficient unit across the board. They at some point loosened the standards a little bit, extended it to 8 weeks. So now it's called RASP, Ranger Assessment and Selection Program. And the standards basically were lowered. And what it resulted in was you got more guys into the unit, but the unit overall became less proficient. You had less physically capable men. You had people who, could barely pass the physical standards, but got in anyway. And those same guys washed out eventually anyway. And so just what it reminded me of was when we lower the standards to make it to where everyone makes it, it makes the overall less
Quality.
competent. The quality goes down, right?
Yeah.